There are certain people in a country's history who become iconic. You only have to name their name to spark a resonance in the hearts of people who come from those countries. If I name Winston Churchill to someone English, no doubt they will think of the Battle of Britain, of Churchill's speech about never surrendering. In the same way, if I name the following figure to somebody Irish, Daniel O'Connell, he's assumed an iconic status in Irish history. As with all icons, how true the icon is, and when you try and look at the reality and compare them, it's another thing. Daniel O'Connell gained the title of the Liberator for his role in turning back laws, the penal laws, and having them revoked, and Catholic emancipation. He also ties in into, to an extent, abolitionism of slavery, particularly when you look at figures like Frederick Douglass, although that's a more minor part of his life. But on the old principle and the old cliche that 1,000 words can be summed up in one picture, it might be worth noticing that his tomb was 180 feet tall, and in today's costs, if you allow for the cost of 18,000 when it was made, it would have cost roughly 15 million euros to build that tomb today. And it's a huge, whopping tower that still soars over Glasnevin Cemetery and is one of the tallest things in Dublin. But the reason I'm mentioning is this wonderful stamp that posted in Ireland where they say no AI was used. Well, here's Daniel O'Connell, the monster meetings he presided over in life. I presume that's meant to be one of them, huge meetings where he attracted up to 1 million people. There's the GPO in the background, and there's a house on the right with a TV aerial on the top. Now, Post is arguing that basically this is supposed to represent him reaching across the ages and having a universal appeal across history. The only problem is television didn't arrive in Ireland, as this article points out, till 1949. So, yes, I could see how you could show O'Connell's points of view about equality and liberty of people are universal, but the TV era looks a bit glaring. It looks a bit odd, stuck in the background there. It doesn't help either the article itself, which talks about not using AI, has several spelling and grammatical errors in it as you go through it, which suggests it too used AI, which leads to the problem of AI becoming helpful but also redundant. So it would have looked a lot better to me if that aerial had been airbrushed out, as it looks rather jarring, or if someone had designed the stamp in another way to indicate his sort of popularity as a political figure being carried on through the centuries. The thing is with O'Connell, he's a touchstone and Irish recognises his name. But how much they actually know about him in detail is another matter. If I go back to this Wikipedia article about him, it shows his grave down the bottom and inside that tower. And there's a popular legend that when he died, he basically asked for his body to be buried in Ireland, his heart to be buried in Rome, which should give some idea of how he viewed his faith. And you have this rather showy tomb at the bottom where you've got the crucifixion and you've got the text referencing that popular legend around the tomb. But if An Post is going to design stamps like this and then say no AI was used, well, I'm not really convinced. That aerial looks rather odd and as if somebody used an AI tool to create an image and didn't quite notice the aerial creep in the corner. I've seen like several other images created lately by organizations and articles like this where instead of editing, it seems to be like, let's use AI to summarize everything or to cobble things together quickly, which might be great for if it was a school project, but when it's An Post, which is a country's national postage service, it looks rather sloppy.